I was planting my knee, and it just goes backwards.
Oh, no.
And, like, twists inside. That was, like, the worst pain I've ever felt. Like, I kind of went down and, like, lost my breath. Like, I couldn't breathe. Like, that's how bad it hurt. And I just knew my first thought was, I just ruined my senior year.
Hey everybody, this is Rodney Valinga with the West Ottawa High School Athletic Program, and you're listening to the 29-1 podcast. 29 sports, one team. The show that brings you into the lives of student athletes, coaches, and other faces in the Panther sports community, bringing you the stories you might otherwise never hear. Join myself and Athletic Director Bill Kennedy as we dive in with you to get to know each other a little bit better.
To be an athlete is to be an athlete. And when it's taken away from you, who are you? What do you have left? And will you ever get it back?
Today we're joined by Panther seniors Avery VanDellen, Berry and Collin Roelofs. They joined the pod to talk about the life of a high school athlete as they deal with injury. This is an incredible sit down with three awesome student athletes as they talk through the emotion of dealing with these injuries and their ultimate return to action.
It's a spring season full of comeback stories.
Avery VanDellen, Berry and Collin Roelofs, up next on the 29-1 podcast. Let's get it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of the 29-1 podcast. I'm your host, Rodney Valinga, and I'm sitting here with Panthers Athletic Director Bill Kennedy. If you are a regular listener, welcome back. We really appreciate you. And if you are listening for the very first time, thanks for checking this out. We hope the voices and stories of our student athletes really resonate with you. And if you are a recently injured athlete who is wondering, what am I supposed to do now? Or how in the world am I ever going to get through this? Settle in and listen to those who have. Today, we welcome three West Ottawa seniors who, in a matter of months, will graduate and leave these storied halls behind. But before they do, they have a sports spring season to enjoy. After suffering injuries of various degrees and different recovery timetables, these three are ready, or at least close to ready, to get back at it. And one has been back at it for quite some time. And it's our grateful honor to ask, who is it?
Avery VanDellen.
Berry, Collin Roelofs.
Thanks so much, guys, for carving out a little bit of your day. We're using that seminar hour. We got some Jimmy John's for you, so we're taking care of the nutrition piece. I know Frank would be proud that we're getting you guys fed for sure.
Yeah, and it's super nice to have you guys. Are always like really nice to me. I'm just a West Ottawa parent, but if I come up and chat you guys up, you guys always spend time with me. Brandon, you always come dap me up, and I know my dap game is weak.
It's okay, we can work on it.
Yeah, but you do it anyways. My kids always tell me I'm coming in too high, I'm coming in too low, I'm grabbing too tight, but you don't say anything. You're real nice to me. Gotcha. So it's much, much appreciated.
No problem.
All three of you have been multi-sport athletes here at West Ottawa, so we're going to get to know you a little bit before we get started. Avery, let's start with you. You're a multi-sport athlete. You've played a few different sports here at West Ottawa. What have they been?
I play varsity golf, varsity basketball, and this year I'll be playing varsity soccer.
Yeah, I never knew you played varsity golf until I talked to your mom yesterday. Let's go back to your love of basketball. She told me a story that it kind of began when you did a crossover of two defenders and Little Panthers. Do you remember that story?
Dude, yeah. I mean, that was like the first time I like unlocked my potential, and I knew like this is the sport I want to pursue.
How old were you when that move happened? Do you remember?
I don't know, probably like 8, maybe. Yeah.
Getting some oohs and ahs at 8 years old?
Yeah. Oh, you know there's oohs and ahs.
Something's going on for sure. And then I also heard that you join golf and you get in a tournament and you win your first tournament.
I think I might have been second.
Second? Oh, moms will say you won. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like first tournament ever. I mean, I played a little in 8th grade, like with my dad, but joined golf my freshman year. I was on JV, and yeah, I was just, from then on, I just played for fun. I mean,
but it kind of came natural to you a little bit?
Yeah.
Somewhat?
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty fun to pick up something new. You're good at it.
Is golf something that you will continue to play as you move on beyond high school?
I mean, not like competitively, but obviously like I'd love to do it with like my kids as I get older and stuff like that.
So I'm going to hit you up when I need
Swing lessons.
well, not swing lessons, but I always need that extra person for that foursome group in a golf outing.
That's true.
Somebody that can bring it all home, and having a female that can hit from the female tees.
Oh yeah, comes in clutch.
It's clutch.
Definitely. And then, you're a part of that regional champion basketball team last year that made it to the state quarterfinals. You came off the bench, what were the 7th, 8th kind of player on that team?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that. And you had a nice run there. You logged some meaningful minutes. So, that's a lot with you.
One of the best photos from that run is the regional championship photo. Avery, I get a smile from you when I mention it. You know that photo, don't you?
Oh yeah. Yep. It's my dad's background on his phone. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the joy and the excitement on the face is everything.
All right, this will be on Instagram at some point. We're going to go find this.
We'll
stick it up
get
there.
that out there.
Brandon, born in Akron, Ohio, the home of LeBron James.
LeBron.
You're born in Akron, and you move here in 7th grade.
Yes, sir.
You're raised by a single mom, and you were like an only child for 10 years.
Yep.
Let's do the Tiffany Berry shout out. I'll give a shout out to all the other parents as well because they spend time with us on the phone. But Tiffany Berry was great to talk to. She said for you guys, you don't play sports till almost 7th or 8th grade. Can you tell me about that, being young and you don't really have this opportunity to play as much?
Yeah. So growing up, I mean, I used to have like a basketball hoop in the backyard. Like we had enough space, but I never actually got to play for like a real team. Like,
Organized stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of just more like maybe like recreational. Like the YMCA used to have like a little like 8U like basketball to them. That was really fun. And then for football, like I've never played tackle football until 7th grade. I was actually too scared to play. I had joined in like 4th grade, and I came to like the first like 3 practices, and I was like, yeah, nah, I'm too scared for this. I can't do this. It was too scary for me because I was so little, and I didn't even know what track was until I got here. It was a really cool experience to be able to get these opportunities now. Like, man, never in a million years did I ever think I'd be able to be recruited by colleges and be like, feel wanted in that type of way. And I just couldn't be more blessed.
Yeah, once you got here, your mom said you really had a lot of self-motivation. You kind of jumped in and you were in basketball, football, all that stuff, like right from the get.
Absolutely.
How did you find high jumping? When did you get into that?
My freshman year, actually.
Were you always bouncy?
No, actually. No.
I know, Colin, you played freshman with him in basketball, right?
Yep.
Not always bouncy?
He had a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
All right.
A little something.
Little something.
Yeah.
Little something.
A little something. Yeah, freshman year I got into it. Wasn't very good, if I'm being honest, but it was my first time ever doing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm determined and I'm going to get good at this specifically. And I want to be able to show people that I'm actually like collegiate, like talent. I want to be able to show people that I can do things that anybody else can do.
And every day you go to practice, you get to work with one of our great young coaches who was a really high jumper in college at Hope, and Addie Gehrig.
Yes, she's great. Couldn't appreciate her more.
Colin, you were raised in a family that is very involved in sports. I've known your family for a very long time. Your dad played baseball here. Your mom played softball. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember meeting you guys in 3rd grade Little Panthers basketball. You remember that team?
A little bit. I have pictures of it, so I remember it a little bit.
Yeah, we rocked that league. We went undefeated, won the championship. That's a little shout out to our team back in the day. But you've played a lot of teams. I mean, you're a baseball pitcher now. That's what you focused on. But you've played a lot of sports here at West Ottawa too, right? You've played football, you've played basketball, you've played baseball.
Yep. And then in middle school, I did swim and cross country as well.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done a lot. What are some of your fond memories of playing baseball as a youngster?
I think the one that really like resonates with me is my first ever no-hitter at Quincy. I remember the field exactly, and I never thought I'd be able to do something like that.
You threw a no-no?
So, yeah, I remember throwing my first no-no. That was
his first.
That's really special.
Which means there have been others.
Multiple no-nos. How old were you at the time, you think?
I think I was probably 3rd grade, so I don't know, like, what is that, 9 years old? So I think that was how old I was at the time.
How much candy were you able to take out of the Roelofs candy bag after that?
A lot. A lot of candy that day.
Yeah, being part of the on teams with the Roelof family is Lisa Roelofs brings this massive bag of candy. So whatever bag you have at home that is just way larger than it should be, that's the bag she carries for candy. Yep. So being on the peripheral of the Roelof family at sporting events is a good place to be.
There are days that I swing by the press box of baseball just to hit the candy bag.
Yeah, it's definitely there. In sixth grade, you kind of take a turn, though. You start taking baseball a little serious, and you started seeing a pitching coach. I believe it was Jason Benson. Is that right?
Correct.
Talk about him a little bit.
So it was the first time I ever really wanted to get work in with somebody, and he knew my dad in high school, and I heard that he played professional. I knew he played at Grand Valley, so I went there for one time, and I knew that this was the guy I wanted to work with.
He's got a lot of energy too. He's got some moxie to him. He really's got it. Like he's got some attitude, and he's very confident.
Yep,
that's a good guy to be around. That's getting to know you guys a little bit, just a smidgen, because there's way more to you. But the reason we're on this podcast really is because of some injuries. One thing for us as sports fans, and Bill's, of course, the AD, is we hear about your injuries. Mm-hmm. Bill, what do you remember about hearing about Brandon's?
Yeah, so Brandon's I actually got to witness. Was that first home track meet last year, Brandon?
Yes.
Yeah, so typically in years past, I'd always work the high jump pit because we're always looking for somebody. It can be a little bit complicated because of the way that it's set up, but I knew that later in the year I was going to have to be clerk of the course, which is a whole nother dynamic. You're checking in literally every kid who runs.
Did you say clerk of the course?
Clerk of the course.
That's a good title for whatever it is.
So I was going to be clerk of the course for another meet. So I was like trying to get some training on it. I'm standing at the start finish. I look over. There's a celebration. I see Brandon just laying on the mat. I'm thinking, oh, he's just won and he's just soaking it in. And then I see the trainers on their way over. And then they got him up, put him on a chair for a little bit, got him some ice. Then the cart came shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll get more into that. I just want to, Collin, I heard about yours from Hudson. So I'm sitting at home and he goes, yeah, Collin Roelofs needs surgery. Heartbreak. Like literally my chest just sunk. That one hurt. Mm-hmm. And then Avery, I heard about you from my wife, Alyssa Valinga, who's one of your coaches. And this was, I believe, May or June or July, whatever it was. But yeah, she's having surgery. She tore ACL.
Yeah, and I got that text message.
And I don't know if you guys see this or not at all, but because sometimes I think athletes don't know the impact you have on a community. But like everybody out there is like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So we all kind of go through that when that happens. You're not alone, like the whole community feels it.
Yeah, so let's go back to, I guess, really the first injury to come about amongst you three. And Collin, you get to lead us off for that. So you kind of walk us through kind of what led to it. You know, Tommy John has obviously become really a very popular surgery, I guess I should say. I saw a statistic the other day that there were more Major League Baseball players that had Tommy John last year than the previous 9 years combined. So the injury is on the uptick.
Yep.
Probably because guys are just throwing harder all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just max out.
Yeah. So I think part of the main reason is because overuse. During the offseason, I wanted to be the best player I could. So I started throwing 6 times a week, which is a lot of stress on your body. I didn't really know what intent to throw at, so I threw max every time, like you were saying. And then in the spring, I threw 1,000 pitches that season, which took a big toll on my body. But every time the coach wanted to pull me, I'd say no, and I push him away because I wanted to go as long as I could. And then in June, it was when it happened, and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel a pop, nothing. I went back to the dugout after the inning, and I couldn't lift my arm above my head. I had tingles in my fingers. I didn't really know what it meant. I thought it was just soreness, and the adrenaline was wearing off. But yeah, that's when it really happened.
So you tear your UCL, your ulnar collateral ligament, and your throwing arm. And what happens a lot with that too, right, is you don't know that that's happened, but you start losing velocity and control with some of your pitches, right? Did that start to happen to you?
Yeah. So I think it was the second inning I went out because I had told my coach, no, I pushed him away. Let me go back out there. And I just didn't feel right. I couldn't throw the ball where I wanted to. I think the velocity dropped, I think it was 5 to 6 miles an hour, and it was just dropping more and more. And that's when I really knew, yeah.
It's wild to me. I played a little bit of high school baseball. I don't know that dudes, when I was in school, and maybe this is a sign of being an old man now. You know, I was in high school in the late 90s. We had no idea what everybody was throwing. we just knew like, oh, that guy throws hard. Baseball's become so stat driven, right?
Yep.
Every home baseball game, we've got 5 or 6 dudes sitting up, recorders on the back of the dugouts, and we're tracking pitches all the time.
Yep.
It's pretty wild.
A lot of pressure to throw, all that kind of stuff. You don't, right when that injury starts, though, you don't really do anything yet. You kind of pitch through it, and then you go to a showcase at Comerica Park.
Yep.
Tell us about what happened there.
Yeah, so my parents wanted to get it checked out initially, and it was about 2 weeks before the showcase. But, I mean, the experience was like too much to pass up on. I didn't want to bail on it and get it checked out. And I was also worried about being shut down. I didn't want to like take time off because I knew I wanted a big season ahead. So I decided to push like off getting it checked out and go to the showcase. And, I mean, being on that field was such a cool experience. I just didn't want to pass that up. So I went there and I was warming up and I still didn't feel like myself. I thought that the 2 weeks would be enough time and found out it wasn't.
Oh, so you took a 2-week break
Yeah.
before you went there.
Yep.
And you're hoping for the best.
Yes.
There's a lot of that, isn't there, athletes with our injuries where we hope it's not as bad as we think it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
And Colin, at that point, how much did you weigh at that time?
Oh, I was
You were
probably-
skinny.
Yeah, I was real skinny. I think I was probably right around 150, 155. I think that's what I was around
Does that play into that injury?
for sure. I think the stat is it's 2% of people who throw 90 or above are below 180 pounds. And my goal was 90, but I was 155 pounds. And how much I was throwing, my body could not handle that. And I think that the muscle breaking down over time, there wasn't much muscle to break down.
And you've changed that.
Yeah,
You're not 150 pounds now.
not anymore.
What are you weighing in at
Right now I'm about 195, 198.
Dang.
He's going to be throwing
Okay.
gas.
Avery VanDellen. Avery, yours happened in an AAU game, which you have played in so many over the years. But yours was interesting because it was a contact injury. Can you walk us through what happened to you?
Yeah, so I was playing a tournament at GVSU actually. So I remember the court, I remember the day.
Oh,
like
boy.
it was a 1:00 game versus Example Sports, I think. I had broken the press, like just beat this girl down the court, and it was a really physical game. This girl just shoves me from behind, and my knee, like I was planting my knee, and it just goes backwards
Oh, no.
and like twists inside. That was like the worst pain I've ever felt. Like I kind of went down and like lost my breath. Like I couldn't breathe. Like that's how bad it hurt. And I just knew my first thought was I just ruined my senior year. I knew immediately like something wasn't right, but obviously I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't get up by myself. So my dad wasn't actually there. He was taking my brother to a soccer game on the other side of the state. So my best friend's dad, an AAU teammate's dad, had to carry me off the court over to the bench. Yeah, it was pretty rough. But
I think what's tough to hear about that one, too, and your mom said this, if you have a non-contact injury, it was going to happen regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But a contact, not necessarily.
yeah.
Do you ever feel part of that was feeling that stuff got taken from you a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I was definitely like very angry when I found out like what the extent actually was. There was a lot of regret. Why did I have to go to that game? Like what if I would have crossed over in that moment rather than just continuing to go straight down the sideline? Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It was just tough pill to swallow.
You don't think it's as bad as it might be, though, because you go see 4 doctors and they all say, what did they all say to you?
Yeah, they just thought my knee was completely healthy. Well, not healthy, but they thought it was strong. Like, there's no way it could have been anything torn. And then I finally see one, and he was like, it might be a meniscus. That was after 6 weeks.
Right.
So that's the only reason I ended up getting an MRI. I mean, I was running on it completely fine after a few weeks. I've been working with Frank. And
Were you able to do lateral movements?
not really. No,
A telltale sign, right?
tough. Yeah, like it just felt unstable, but it didn't really hurt all that much, and I didn't have like full range of motion by that point.
And then you go and have surgery in June.
Yep.
June 28th, 2024, I believe.
Yep.
Collin, we'll go back to yours, but yours was in September of 2023. Even.
Correct.
Yeah, so 2 big surgeries, definitely huge timetables in front of you. Collin, I believe yours was 12 to 18 months.
Yep.
And yours was
9 to 12 months.
9 to 12. All right.
It's wild that it was ACL, right?
Yeah.
That an ACL now is 9 months. You know, that 2 decades ago, an ACL is like you have a giant zipper on the front of your knee. You might be done forever.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just wild, like technology and the way that sports medicine has come a long way.
We talked about, Brandon, yours a little bit. Now, yours is very different.
Very.
Very different. Walk us through what happened to you.
So this is the first home meet of the track season against Jenison.
This is last year.
This was last year, correct. I was going this. It kind of all occurred because I was long jumping and I had really bad landings. So like I'd land and then I'd like roll over onto like the concrete, or I'd like,
What's going on here?
I don't know. It was really bad landings. Like
It's early in the season.
it was really early in the
so
season.
rusty.
I didn't really want a long jump that year, but I kind of had to because we were down some long jumpers at the time. But thank God we got some guys that stepped up later on in the year, so I didn't have to. I go high jump after I'm done with my last long jump, and we're at like 5'8", I think is what it was at. And I remember just going up, I jumped, I'm over the bar, and then I just feel like just a pop. And I'm like, what was that? And I landed. I cleared the height too, which was crazy. Didn't expect that, but I kind of just felt this pop, and I was just laying there in a lot of pain. And I remember my mom and the trainers all came over, and my mom's like, "Oh, you're fine."
Yeah, your mom. I talked to your mom on the phone, and your mom's a nurse as well, right?
Yep.
I mean, your mom is a nurse too, Avery. And she goes, "My baby's being a baby."
Pretty much, yeah. Kind of just told me to suck it up. You're fine. And I was like, all right, maybe she's right. So I go sit down in this chair that they pulled up for me, and I'm there for like maybe like 10 minutes. And they're like, all right, we'll try and get up and try and like walk. And I was like, I stood up, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to walk because I couldn't even lift up my right leg. Like, it was terrible. Never would I wish that on my worst enemy. That pain was terrible. I had to get carted off the track because I couldn't walk. I've never used crutches a day in my life, so I didn't know how to use crutches. And I remember Grace, shout out Grace. She was like, "Well, I need you to try and sit down in the seat." I was like, "Okay." And I tried to lift that leg up, and I couldn't. So they literally had to like, basically not necessarily toss me, but they had to like flip me onto the cart. And they called my mom, and she came back, and they like slid me into the back seat, and we rushed to the ER.
You go to the ER for yours.
Yep. I was there for like 3.5 hours.
And then what's your prognosis?
It was an avulsion fracture in the right hip. Basically, the tendons were too strong and pulled the piece of bone out from where it was supposed to be, where it was attached from. Normally, people have surgery from it, but doctor kind of just told me, like, you probably won't need surgery. You just need a lot of rest. And they told me I was out for anywhere from like 6 weeks to maybe like 2 months. Like,
So not the longest recovery, but long enough for you to lose your season.
correct.
You guys go through all this stuff. It gets hectic, right? ER visits, doctor visits, all that kind of stuff is happening. But there does come a time where you get that first moment alone. So we're gonna dive down a little bit here, guys. Mm-hmm. You get that first moment alone, wherever it might be. Maybe it's the day before your surgery or whatever that case is. Everybody else has gone to bed. Put your phone aside. Things have settled down. And it's just you with you. Collin, do you remember something like that or a moment that stands out to you?
Yeah, I remember I just had finished up at work, and I drove to a parking lot just to sit there and like resonate. And I know that I like turned off my phone. I just sat there and I looked up, and it really hit me in that moment that there was a chance I might never play again. I remember going up onto the roof, and I know that was like just like look up at the stars, really like let it settle in. And I think
How are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like doing that?
I kind of felt emotionless. I just sat there and I realized this is going to be a long journey if I do take the journey, because there was a choice of going the no surgery route and just being done or doing the surgery. And I just thought it's going to be a long road ahead.
The vast unknown, right? What's coming up? A lot of anxiety, a lot of worry. How about you, Avery?
Yeah, so once I found out that like I needed surgery, I like didn't believe it. Like obviously my knee felt fine. I didn't really feel like I needed surgery that much. But obviously like to play again, that was what was necessary. So I remember in the surgery center, I was like laying in the bed, and like the surgeon comes in and he like writes his initials on your leg.
So they do the right one.
Yeah, so they do the right one, and I just lost it. Like, yeah, like couldn't breathe. I was like panicking a little bit. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I was like crying. Like my dad was like, "Wow, like I didn't expect to see you like that. You were so brave before that." Like, yeah, that's when I like really knew like that was going to be a long road, you know.
Yeah, it really hurts when you're going to that surgery too. You're going on under anesthetic. You know, it's like your mind starts to go to places. Am I going to wake up from this? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we all have, you know, very unrealistic, but in the moment it's not, you know, it's really, really tough to face that.
And Brandon, you're in the middle of it's really at the start of a track season.
Correct.
And the track season ends up being really special for our boys program. Right. We really raised the level last year. What was it like for you to then be back out on the track, not being able to participate, but you were still there supporting your teammates?
Honestly, at first, I kind of just dreaded being there, because honestly, when the injury happened, I kind of just felt like my life was like stripped away from me. Like, I don't know, I just had like this really like big passion for track, and I was like, dang, well, this might be it. Like, I don't know if I'll even be able to come back. And the doctor had also told me, like, you might have to miss some of your football season too. And it was hard, because sports is like how I kind of found my identity. But being back out there on the track, definitely at the first few weeks was very dreadful. Definitely didn't want to be there sometimes. But I kind of talked to Coach Addie, and we talked, and she was like, listen, I know you can't jump right now, but you should try coaching some of the younger guys up, the JV guys up. I go, you know what? It's a good idea. And we went to Rockford, and me and Jake Sonderman were out, and we were like, you know, let's coach up the guys this meet so she can go focus on the long jumpers. Coached up some of the guys, and we got some guys do some PRs. John Beetham, I think he jumped like 5'6" that day. I got CJ Guillermo back up to himself at 5'10". And it just felt really good to like put out the good out there and just be able to allow my leadership skills to take control and show people that no matter what happens, no matter what obstacles happen, there's always something good that's always going to come out of it, and just pour it into other people.
So what I'm hearing is that upon collegiate graduation, you're going to come back and coach some track here at West Ottawa.
I definitely would love to.
That's what I'm hearing.
Sounds like it.
You guys go through a lot. It's a very tough place to be. Whenever there's something bad, there's always something good.
Absolutely.
I'm sure in the beginning, when this happens, you get this wave of support. All of a sudden, all these people surround you. Let's maybe talk about that. Who came around you during your time, Avery? Want to share that with us?
So a lot of the basketball team came around for sure. I had a lot of friends from like my club soccer teams and AAU team come around, and even your wife, like Miss Vellinga, came and just like spent time with me and my mom. So, yeah.
You get a few people that came around. That was a bit of a surprise. You're like, oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I didn't expect people to come visit me and stuff like that. Like that was pretty special.
Collin, how about yourself? What was it like for you? You have your surgery. There's some really fun, not safe for work videos out there about your anesthesia, which we won't get into. I'll probably cut it out, but I just needed to say it out loud. But what was it like for you? You know, you have your surgery and then you're home, and what kind of support did you see?
Yeah, so I think one of the most special moments I remember is getting a gift basket dropped off. I was not expecting that. I was sidelined on the couch for 7 days. And then a bunch of texts from my old coaches. I was not expecting that. Coach Knobber, I remember messaged out, and that one really hit me hard, especially because I didn't play for him much. I remember the new coaches here. I had parents from my buddies. I had a bunch of people like I barely even talked to in the community come reach out and come visit, and that was very special.
How'd that make you feel to have that?
It felt really good, to be honest, especially because I wanted to push people away. I felt like it'd be better if I just like tough it out and like get through this myself, but having that support group around me really helped me.
Yours is a bit shorter.
A little bit.
But it's good to talk about different ones. What was it like for you the first week or two?
The support was just through the roof. Like coaches, even Mr. Kennedy. Like I remember I came to school like that following day, and
You got your Jimmy Johns that day?
no Jimmy Johns that day.
Okay.
But I did see Mr. Kennedy, and we talked, and he was like, "I just pray for a speedy recovery for you, and everything will be good." And it was just a lot of people that I didn't even like talk to normally was coming up to me, and I just felt really loved by a lot of people. And I talked to like the entire track team because I remember I had to break the news down to them, like I probably won't jump again this year. And I just felt the utmost amount of love and support from them, from the both girls and boys side of the team, and I couldn't appreciate all of them more.
After that first wave of support, all of a sudden life starts to continue for everybody else. Everybody else goes to practice.
Yep.
Everybody else is shooting hoops. Pitchers are pitching, whatever the case may be. Your day-to-day changes immediately. And a lot of athletes go through that, do I matter? What was it like? This is the hard part of this, talking about it. But like, what emotions did you start to feel after that wave of support? And all of a sudden, you guys got to deal with daily life now. And maybe, Collin, you can speak to that first. How did that affect you? Did you get angry? Were you sad? What kind of different emotions did you go through?
Yeah. So after surgery, I became a really negative person to be around. Like, that's just the truth. I pushed people away, like I was saying earlier. I always had these angry emotions, negative emotions. And when people would try to like make me a more positive person, I felt like just shutting that down and just trying to have the tough guy mentality. And the day-to-day life definitely changed big time.
Brandon, your mom said you weren't yourself for a couple of weeks. What happened to you? My experience with you is you're always up. You're always smiley, always interacting with people around you. And she was a little worried that guy was disappearing.
Yeah, I fell into a really, really dark place. Kind of grew on to like a depression, I guess you can say. It kind of got to a point where like I wasn't eating. I wasn't very like interactive with everybody. I kind of just gave up on school. Like it was really bad, and I hated seeing myself in that situation because I know that's not me, and it was hard to just see. Like my mom even knew, like she was trying to talk to me, and I just give her the very minimal
little one syllable answer.
Pretty much, yeah. And it was just one syllable or a few sentences, and I'll just be like, I'm not really feeling talking about it right now, and I was pushing away a lot of people.
Avery, I talked to your mom about you. She said you never got down, but it was very emotionally difficult for you. Can you share your experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like more so the anxiety before surgery that got to me. But then after surgery, I realized like I need to stop feeling sorry for myself. I just needed to get up. Like 9 months at that point feels like no light at the end of the tunnel. But like I just locked in and really started focusing on like what I needed to do to get better. I mean, I was trying to get my range of motion back. Like obviously ACL surgeries are pretty painful surgeries. Like, so I've dealt with like a lot of physical pain. So I was just trying to make that go away, honestly. It was in the dead of summer. So like there's nothing else.
Oh, the summer too for you.
Yeah, there's like nothing else I could focus on. So it was pretty much focusing on myself,
So you're able to, you had this huge emotional, I guess, I don't want to call it an outburst, but I think we all need that, right? We need some way to kind of shed all that inner pain and get it out of it. and yours kind of came out and you were able to settle into something. Good for you.
Yeah.
Even with a lot of bad going on, you guys, there is still a lot of fun that I'm going to do this because I've had injuries too. And mine were when I was older, so it's not that big a deal. Okay. What did I lose? Nothing. I mean, but anyways, but there's always some positives that come out of this. Did you get to binge watch anything during the summer, Avery?
I'm not gonna lie. I binge watched Adam Sandler movies all the time. Like,
Awesome.
never fail to make me laugh. So
No kidding, right?
What's your favorite go-to Adam Sandler movie?
Grown Ups, 110%.
Good choice.
Yeah, well,
choice.
when you watch Grown Ups with your 8 and 9 and 10-year-olds by accident, not the best choice. Is what I did once. This looks good. No, it doesn't. It's pretty fast. How about you, Colin? Get into that too?
Yeah, I got into playing darts more often with my brother.
Are you serious?
So yeah, I did that, and I watched Breaking Bad for the first time.
But you're going lefty
So,
darts too,
Yeah,
then?
lefty darts.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, I started watching Breaking Bad too, and that was the first time I've ever watched that. Finished the whole thing.
Amazing show.
I couldn't get into it.
No, well, yours is different because yours is shorter,
Yeah.
right?
Or are you talking more Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad.
Oh, I thought you mean just
No,
binging in general.
I
You tried
binged.
Breaking Bad. Okay.
I tried it. I started watching a lot of just TV shows, like random. Like my mom was watching, like she'll watch like Grey's Anatomy. I'm going in there with her, and I'm gonna go watch Grey's Anatomy with her because it was interesting. There was that. I was watching Shameless. I was watching a lot of like upcoming like Netflix like documentaries. They had came out with that Jeffrey Dahmer documentary.
Oh, great.
And I watched the entire thing. I thought it was crazy.
Fantastic.
It was nuts. I didn't say it was good, but it was something.
All right. Well, that'll help you get out of that dark place.
Yeah. Gave me something to do.
Watching Dahmer. There's some other things that go on too. And be honest. I want you to be honest self here. Did you ever find yourself taking advantage of your situation? Like, can I have a slushie today? Or, you know what sounds good? A Frosty?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you do that with Barry?
Man, I'd lay down in bed. Sometimes I'd actually not be in pain. And I'd just tell my mom, like, yeah, like my hip hurts a lot. Like, can you make me this? Or can you go get me this? And she'll do it. Shout out, Mom. But yeah, sometimes I lied about the injury.
How about you, Avery?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was like laid up after surgery, so I could get around though. I was on crutches for like a week, but after that, like I could get around by myself. But I would just be like, Dad, can you make me food? Just because, yeah.
Yeah, you can pull it off, Colin. How about you, man?
Yeah, so I do not cook one bit. So I got all the meals I requested. Very lucky for that. Shout out, Mom. But I took advantage of it full-heartedly. Asked 3 times a day for food. They would bring me the TV remote when it was on the other couch so I can turn stuff on, all kinds of drinks, runs to the stores they would go make for me. So, yeah, took advantage of it.
It seems way cooler to be living at home when you're going through injury as opposed to what I did.
Okay, Bill.
I was living with
Bill, can you tell us your story?
I was living with 9 other football guys. I wasn't saying, hey, Jay, you go get me some pizza puffs or something, you know?
Yeah.
You didn't get that benefit?
No.
Living with your boys?
No.
And then, I mean, did you take that even farther? Like, did you get to the point where you were like pretty far past what you needed? And it's like, you need to take out the trash tonight. Oh man, I don't know, my hips.
Yeah, I kind of took advantage.
Yeah,
Of it.
you're getting near the end now. Hopefully, all 3 of you. But you can certainly do it for a while. Let's keep moving forward now. Brandon, let's go to yours. Your period of rest and recovery is ultimately short. So whatever that timeline, what was this timeline supposed to be?
It was like 6 weeks to 2 months.
Okay, and then what happens to you?
I came back in 4.5 weeks, and I remember the day I got cleared, and I had called Coach Gehrig, and I was like, "Yeah, I just got cleared." She was like, "You can jump," and I was like, "Oh, I mean, I can." I mean, it was real shaky of an answer, but I went out to JV conference because I mean, I didn't know what I could do at the time because I just came back from an injury, no practice, nothing, and I ended up going there. I remember my first jump at 5'2", and I had went under the bar because I got scared and tripped myself. And then the second attempt, I finally locked in and did it. And I kind of just went back to muscle memory and then ended up jumping 6'2" that day, all-time PR, and had
Come on.
and had a meet record.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, you should have atrophy while you're out.
And that's an okay red JV meet record. So that's not just like
What?
a bunch of random small schools.
Nope.
This is the best of the best. And our guys got the meet record
And
after weeks off.
Yeah, and we had 3 West Ottawa guys go top 3 for that too.
Collin, you're faced with a 12 to 18 month recovery. This is a very long period of time for both you and Avery.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's a lot more in there than we're going to be able to get to. But when did things start to turn for you? When did you come out of that, what you were in, and how did it start to change for you?
Yeah, so I really think it started to change once I got my range of motion back. We completed some of the strength program, and I got cleared to hit for the first time. And that was like one of my all-time high of highs.
No kidding.
I was at practice taking swings on the sideline. And then a little bit after that, I started my throwing program. And I was so pumped up. I was throwing tennis balls along the wall all day long. I was doing more than I probably should have because I was just so pumped up. Nobody was stopping me.
How about yourself, Avery?
Yeah, so I feel like the 3-month mark, that's like the standard to get cleared to jog. So I was so happy to be cleared to just move more than just walk, you know, and every chance I got, I was like jogging or moving faster than I was before. And right now I'm 7.5 months out. So like I'm cleared for practice. Like I just not contact stuff. I'm doing everything that I can.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were, and I talked to your coach Valinga last night. Yeah, she's moving really well. She's able to do this. She's able to move. I go, she going lateral? Oh, yeah, she's going great. So
Yeah,
Must be
everything-
awesome to get back in the gym and get some shots up.
It's great. It's awesome. Like it's just like I'm so close. You know, March 28th is that date, that final clearance. You know.
Okay.
you guys both, you didn't know this, you talked about when you came in, but you have both done stuff with Eric Hamilton at Rehab for Performance.
Yep.
You guys are doing out of CrossFit in Holland.
Yep.
Tell us about Eric Hamilton, and we'll talk about him a little bit and what that's been doing for you guys.
Yeah, so I knew Eric before surgery from my cousin. My cousin went to him after having Tommy John surgery, and my surgeon recommended him, so I knew that this was the guy to go to. Eric, he was never shy of motivating somebody. He always pushed me to be the best when I wanted to give up.
He's
or
young
stop.
too. He's
Yeah.
a young dude.
Yeah. When I wanted to give up, he would push me to my limits, no matter what, even if that was me puking after rehab. Really helped me change and flip the switch in my head that it's go time.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, I'm currently doing like 2 appointments a week with him right now, and it's insane workouts. Like if I eat before that, like it's not staying down. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
Like I need to plan
you
ahead.
serious?
Yeah, I mean it's hard stuff. He played college soccer at Cornerstone, I think. So he's like go, go, go. Like it's tough. And then he'll do like finishers. Oh my goodness.
Oof.
Those are terrible.
That's it. Tell us.
I think my last one, it was like a cardio. It was all cardio. So I had to do 6 seconds sprinting on the treadmill, and those treadmills at that place are like special ones like for athletes, and it's just, I almost felt like I was gonna fall off of it. Like I've never been on
Those
one of
ones, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curved.
Yeah,
curved
really
ones.
curved, yeah. And then there's like the skier machine. He made me get to
Thanks for doing the motion, by the
Yeah,
way. I
yeah.
wouldn't have known what you meant.
Yeah, it's like I had to get 12 calories on that, and there was 2 different types of bikes. I had to get 12 calories on one bike, and then I had to do like 500 meters on the other, and then a rowing machine, I had to get like 700 meters on that or something like that, and I had to do it for 3 sets. It was just terrible. Like I was never worked harder in my life.
Brandon, how thankful are you for your different injury? In retrospect.
Compared to these two, I could definitely say I'm very thankful that I didn't have to do all that. But I got the choice to choose to either work out with the trainers here or work out with the actual physical therapist. And I was like, well, this is already very expensive, and I don't really want to put more onto my mom. And so I was like, I'm going to go work out with the trainers. And shout out Grace and Chris.
Yeah, your mom couldn't say enough about them.
Yeah, oh man, I couldn't thank them more. They were great, keeping me in high spirits and I know a lot of it comes from just being able to like keep your head down and locking in and wanting to come back. And they kind of just kept me there and staying focused and helping me mentally.
You guys start moving out of this isolation that you're in. So you move from this rest and recovery moment, spending time alone, and then you start doing this. What happens socially now that you're doing some of this rehab and getting into that? What starts to change in your life?
Yeah, so I remember that after being able to throw at practice for the first time, I went up to the teammates and I joined in on throwing for the first time, and just being able to talk with the guys like that, being with them as a team while being able to throw, it really helped me like motivate myself more too. And talking with the coaches and everybody at practice, being able to participate really like helped reinstate the drive.
And then you effectively, and this is very impressive to me because I was able to do some announcing for baseball. And who is out there all last season doing all the little work? You effectively become a team manager, right? You're doing lineup cards, you're raking the mound. You didn't have to do that, but why did you do that?
I felt like I wanted to contribute to the team even though I wasn't playing. I felt like being a part of the team was one of the things I didn't want to like lose. I didn't want to feel like I would just sit on the sideline, like not talking with the guys, not being a part of the team. So I started doing the mound work with Coach Hoy. I started
very nice work, by the way.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I helped deliver you lineup cards, helped set those up. I did pitch charts so I could like help develop game plans, and I just wanted to contribute to the team as much as I could.
One of the things I noticed about your baseball season last year is your fit was always dialed in. I mean, flat bill, Oakleys.
It's all true.
Like you look the part. I can't wait to see it on the mound.
I had to.
Avery, similar for you, you've kind of been that team manager, the biggest cheerleader on the bench, other than maybe Sydney, because she's very loud when she's there with you. What's that kind of been like to be around your teammates and still be a part of the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this year is a rebuild year off of last year. So I just wanted to like, these are the girls that I've been playing with my entire life. So I just wanted to like support them, even though I couldn't play. And I have aspirations to play in college. I'm not committed yet or anything, but I know that they cheer me on, so why can't I cheer them on, even if I'm not playing, you know?
Yeah.
And I obviously, like, gotta go fill up their water bottles and stuff, but yeah, it's what it is. And now that I'm, like, more active and stuff, like, I can be a practice player. Brandon's actually one of our practice players.
Yes,
Shout
I
out.
am.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, we get after it. So.
Well, I'll tell you both. When you do those things and we know that you're sitting out because of injury, those things don't go unnoticed by just kind of general population folks. Certainly me, I'm always looking at kids and how, when they're met with adversity, how are they going to respond to it? Because so much of what you learn in playing sports is how to deal with that adversity. Things are going to happen in life. How are you then going to return and respond to those things? So kudos to you both for being there for your teammates.
Yeah, even off of that, like, I've just gotten to see basketball from a different perspective. I've learned so much, like, from the X's and O's side, and, like, how to motivate players to do better if they're in, like, a slump or something, you know? It's just, I don't know. It's just been a pretty nice way to, like, cope with me not being able to play. Like, I've just been able to learn so much from this experience.
I hear another coach in the future, maybe.
What are you guys, all 18 years old?
Yep, just turned 18.
And you're wiser than most after this, let me tell you that much. Brandon,
Yes.
you get to go back first. You get to go back in the same season that you get injured.
Yep.
What can you tell these two about what that feeling is like? Now, I know Colin's done some little pitching. You've been able to get to where you are, non-contact. What is it going to be like for them when they get to go back?
I'm telling you now, it's the most surreal experience that you'll ever like feel. Like I couldn't be more blessed and thankful in God for allowing me to get to this point. And I can kind of lost for words on it, but it's just a really cool experience, and it feels really good to just be back out there and competing with your friends and, you know, going out there to go get some West Ottawa wins. And it's just nice because now this year I'm planning on going for that school record for high jump,
which is
6'9". I'm beating Steve Tripp. I'm telling you that now.
Mark it down.
I'm marking
it's
it
on
down.
the podcast now.
So I'm just excited, and you guys will love it. I'm telling you, it's the best experience you will ever feel because you actually kind of feel like you got yourself back to normal, I guess you can say.
Avery, you might get out on the floor on senior night. Maybe might get that senior night start.
Yeah.
That's the rumblings I'm hearing. Go
Yeah,
from
it
there.
sounds like I'm going to start, and I get to have my first and last points of my senior season. So, yeah.
Are we going to go like deep corner three? It's not going to be a layup, is it? You're such a great 3-point shooter. I was looking at a huddle today, by the way, and I forgot you were a lefty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a lefty. I'm debating whether I shoot a 3 or not because I feel like if I miss, that'll be kind of embarrassing.
I'm running the clock, so we can play around.
Yeah. So if I make a 3, then the other team has to make a 3 also.
Oh, that's true.
So, yeah, it is what it is.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be awesome. Grateful that Chapman's giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, that's nice. Colin, for you, you've come back a little bit already. What's interesting for you is you have this 12 to 18 month timeline, but reality is you're kind of ready.
Yeah.
And you've been ready for a while. You did some pitching in the fall league. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, so I signed up for this fall league with a couple of my buddies here, Jake Wagner and Quinn, and I didn't think I was going to pitch. I thought I was going to hit mostly, but I threw a little bit in the summer, so I kind of knew there was opportunity for me to pitch. And it was the first game, and I talked to the coaches, and a lot of people weren't willing to go throw. So I had some kid go first, and then I was second. And I took pre-workout beforehand. Like, I was all juiced up. So I already had adrenaline going and caffeine. My head was spinning.
I don't want to be in the batter's box when you're coming out, right?
It wasn't good. And like he said, it's a surreal moment. Walking out was one of the key memories I'm going to have for the rest of my life. And it wasn't good. I kind of struggled. I threw about 5 pitches into the net, but it was an awesome moment.
What it's going to be awesome to just watch you both set back out there with West Ottawa or Panthers across your chest. I am so excited for that moment for both of you. Brandon, obviously, I've gotten to see you come back and what you've done. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic spring. And it is coming up on us
Yes, it
because
is.
we are like 4 weeks away.
Yep.
And it's go time.
Yeah, so we got a baseball season opens up on March 21 at Mona. Do you know where you are in this?
You might want to
pitching
call that
lineup?
Shores. You'll catch some static from the people from Mona Shores if you call it Mona. I always called it Mona. And then our assistant principal, Brent Jandrin, is a graduate of Mona Shores. And he looked at me like I had punched him in the face or something when I called it Mona.
Baseball season opens on 3/21 at Shores.
Shores.
Okay.
There we go.
When do you think you'll get that first start?
I don't know because lineups aren't set, but I'm hoping to be one of the top conference starters. So I don't know if I want to pitch for Mona. It all depends on the coaching. I kind of hope I do. First game back.
Cold.
So yeah, I feel like it would be really cold. But I feel like that'd be cool to get one of those opportunities just to also ease in. So get the adrenaline all out of there and shake the rust off.
Panther fans, if you're interested in a great sports story and you want to see some magic, get out to this start when this kid hits the mound again. It is going to be something special. So let's stay on Instagram. Let's get that posted so we all know when that is. And yeah, if you're a casual fan out there and you go to sports once in a while, hit this one up. Why not? Girls soccer is 3:14 at home versus Holland. But I think do you feel like your first comeback is basketball or you think it's going to be soccer? What's it feel like for you?
I'm not technically cleared until March 28th.
Right, so it's going to be a while yet then.
Yeah, it'll be soccer for sure. I'm gonna miss like the first couple of weeks of the season, but I talked to Wyckoff. He said like he'll be able to work with me through that, so I'm pretty excited. And obviously, I'll be on limited minutes for the first little bit. The clearance process for ACL is like you have to be cleared by your physical therapist and you have to be cleared by your surgeon. So I'm hoping it's March 28th. I don't know if I'm going to get that strength testing with the physical therapist.
But if it's not, it's okay.
Yeah.
But guess what's going to happen to you, Avery VanDellen?
What?
There's going to be a time when you're going to get subbed in because they need your athletic ability out in that field.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that day. Like it's in the next couple months here.
All right. We're going to stay posted for that one too. We're definitely going to be on that. What I find very interesting about this for all three of you is the short term was taken away, but your long term was not. You guys all have plans to do things after West Ottawa.
Yep.
Barry, you're planning on North Carolina A&T, HBCU. Tell us about that.
Yeah, great school up in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure it's in Greensboro. Beautiful area. My mom plans on moving to North Carolina, so she's like, if you can go there, it'd be a lot easier for you because then you can just come home. I was like, that doesn't sound too bad. So I plan on going to visit there within the next month or so. I'm really excited. My mom has always kind of put on to me, like stressed on me, like you should go to an HBCU. Like you would love it there because coming from Akron to here, the culture change was definitely a lot different. It was really weird to be one of the only Black people in a classroom.
Right.
And it was definitely a different experience. I kind of, at first, when I first got here, I kind of didn't really show who I really was at first because I didn't know how to express myself at the time. But I met a good group of guys and I was able to kind of just open up, and now everybody knows me as me. And I'm just excited for whatever the future holds.
Know you as you. I mean, you certainly make it easy to. I'll say that much. Collin, Lansing Community College.
Yep.
This is a jump off school too, isn't it? Like this is a cool place for you to go.
Yep.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I initially DM'd and tagged one of the Lansing Community College's coaches in my post on Twitter, and he reached out to me within like 10 minutes, I think it was. I went on a call with him after work one day, and he was a super straight up guy. And after the call, he felt like I was like my next door neighbor, basically. It felt like I was talking to like somebody like I knew for forever. We got along like really quickly, and I went and visited there, and it felt like home. I walked on the campus, and I wanted that big school feel, and it had that big school feel. I've been looking at them even before surgery. They were like one of the top developmental JUCOs, and they're like second in Division II for like win-loss in the past like 3-4 years. And I feel like this is the best opportunity I have to really showcase my skills and get myself out there more.
Yeah, that is one of those, like, unless you're in the baseball world, you probably haven't heard of LCC. But if you're connected to baseball at all, I worked for the Lugnuts for a period of time right around the corner from LCC. They just pump out dudes constantly. And a lot of it is people like yourself who are coming back off of that injury, who need that opportunity to go and prove themselves once again. And man, kudos to you for going there. They got a gem for sure.
Yeah, they send people to D1 too, right? Arizona State, a lot of people get sent there. So it's a real jumping off point. Kudos for you for getting that too. I mean, despite your injury.
Took a lot.
I mean, come on.
Took a lot. So a lot of Twitter posts, especially.
What does it take to get that when you're injured?
It's more potential based, I feel like. And it's also a character. You show your character and you show like the potential you had before surgery and after. Some schools will kind of like decline you because you had the surgery, but they were one of those schools that they take people in who have had that bad of a surgery, like Tommy John, and they work with you. And I felt like that was for sure the best spot.
Avery, you have multiple places you can go. Aquinas, Albion, Lawrence University, and this weekend you're going to Point Park, a D2 in Pittsburgh, right?
Yep.
Tell us about that trip you got all planned this weekend.
Honestly, I haven't seen an itinerary yet,
okay.
So I'm not sure. But if like we're talking about recruiting, I got hurt in the AAU game, so I had coaches like watching me in that game, and like the Hope College coach just straight up got up and left after I went down. Like,
oh gosh.
And I mean, it's been my lifelong dream to play basketball at Hope College. So like seeing that I was getting recruited by them and then him leaving, that was like really tough. Like, and I didn't have any offers like going up to that point. So hearing that I tore my ACL and didn't have any offers, and that was like the biggest recruiting period for basketball. Like that was really tough. Like I was scraping tooth and nail to get any offers. I was getting in contact with coaches, and it was like 2 weeks before surgery that I had my first visit with Lawrence. That's the school in Appleton, Wisconsin. And yeah, I mean, the coaches are awesome there. I really loved my experience there. And Albion, I had never really thought about playing there, but they're actually in Hope's conference, so that would be pretty cool to like play against them.
Dagger 3 to knock them out.
Yeah, that's yeah, kind of. But I had to like fill out a recruiting form on their athletics page, and that's the only reason they knew about me. And I'm just going off of film from last year. Like it was hard to get recruited with playing under somebody like Gabby Reynolds. Like she just looks so good that everybody else looks bad, you know? So
Well, you never look bad to me when you played, I'll say that.
And as somebody that experienced college in Pittsburgh, it's an awesome town to be a college age student there. So, and Point Park's a great school. So good luck to you this weekend.
yeah, thank you.
Permane Brothers. Make sure you hit it. Permane Brothers.
Yeah, I've been there.
If you're in Pittsburgh, you have to go to Permane Brothers.
Yeah.
What's
and then-
Permane Brothers?
Permane Brothers is like thick Italian bread, your choice of meat, cheese.
Okay.
Then they go French fries, coleslaw.
Oh, wow.
I hold the slaw.
Okay. I probably would too.
And it comes out of this working class town. So this
Yes.
is the steel workers.
This was the steelworkers
This is what
meal.
they would go eat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Still sounds good.
It's legit.
Sounds like I need to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotta give a shout out. Josie Chose and Kate Adams. They're a couple of my friends from the Lawrence basketball team. So, yep, just giving a shout out.
Yeah, shout them
awesome.
out. Anybody else want to shout anybody out? Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. I know I've said shout out my mom, but she would love to hear this. Shout out Big Tiff. Appreciate you for everything. Thank you for just being by my side for everything. And shout out Grace and Chris, our athletic trainers. Y'all are great. I couldn't appreciate y'all more.
Do I have permission to call her Big Tiff the next booster
Absolutely.
meeting?
She wants everybody to call her Big Tiff. It's so funny.
Yeah, and then I'll shout out my surgeon, Dr. LeBolt. Checking in with him, he always made the hospital feel like home. Also shout out my dad for always pushing me to be the best and never shying away from teaching me good work ethic. Shout out Lisa Roelofs. All those texts you gave me, even though you know I hated them, I still always appreciate them.
And the candy.
And the candy.
The candy. As we finish up here, we're going to just ask a couple meaningful questions.
Okay.
Somebody else is listening to this and they're injured. What advice would you give them to get through it? Take your time. Don't have to answer quick. You're going to talk to somebody who just got injured. They're going through stuff. What might you say to them?
I would say, like, focus on yourself and your mental health. Like, especially if it's a long-term injury, it's going to be tough at first. But if you start to see, like, the light in these dark situations, everything will be fine. And, like, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Isolation for sure you have to fight. Because when you get in isolation, you kind of like, you start talking really negatively and you kind of get really bad negative thoughts about maybe other people, or you're kind of just like, why did this have to happen to me? This should have happened to this person. And it's just not fair. But if I was to tell anybody, like, just stay true to yourself and don't allow outside distractions and social media to bring you down, especially mentally. Because I remember during the isolation period, I was on social media a lot and I was seeing everybody else just do so good, or I was watching like Olympic high jumpers just do these like crazy jumps, and I just get really jealous and like, this isn't fair. Like, this is where I want to be, and now I'm here and injured, laying up in my bed. But to anybody, just push through.
Can we speak to that in a minute? Because you guys are both shaking your heads. You were nodding when you said that, Avery.
Yeah, I saw videos on, like, Twitter and stuff of, like, people 3 days after surgery, like, squatting 155 pounds if full range of motion. It's like, there's no way that's actually true. Like, it just made me feel terrible about, like, where I was in my recovery. You just kind of have to remember, like, you're your own person and your recovery is not going to be the same as somebody else's. So you need to like stay independent, but like also don't let the outside distractions get to you, like Barry was saying.
Everybody's journey is different at the end of the day. Some people might come back faster, some might take longer, but we all have the same goal at the end of the day. We all want to reach the same finish line, and stay true to yourself, like Barry said. Also, if I was to tell somebody who had an injury, I'd say reach out to people. Don't like keep stuff to yourself, whether it's struggles, mental struggles, like battles with depression. Always reach out. Don't hide anything. Tell the truth. So, yeah.
Wise beyond their years, Rodney.
Yeah, one day you're gonna be that 40-year-old, and someone's gonna ask you, "What happened to you in high school?" And you're gonna tell your story, and it's gonna matter. So hang on to this stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like having another person on the basketball team.
Can we do a shout out to Jayla Means for a minute?
Yeah.
Because she is a carbon copy of your injury. What was it, 2 weeks later?
Something like
Something like that.
But she got her surgery like a month and a half later or something. So, yeah, I mean, having somebody that's going through the exact same thing and pretty much the same timeline has been so helpful. Like, after a hard day of PT, like, I can just text her and she'll just be there, and it's great. And, like, obviously vice versa. Like, if she has a tough day or she's, like, feeling behind in her recovery, like, we can just help each other out. So,
yeah, and she's been there with the team as well, so kudos to her. Well, I just want to thank you all for coming on. You're all wonderful human beings, wonderful people. In a few months, you won't be here anymore. Like a year from now, you're all going to be in different places. This is going to matter for a long time. You guys sharing your story with us. We wish all three of you the best spring sports season, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there. For everybody out there, remember that we are West Ottawa. We are a community. We are each other. And I just want to thank all three of you for coming in, telling the truth, and sharing your experience. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks so
you.
much, guys. If you have enjoyed listening to the 29-1 podcast, be sure to like and subscribe. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.